The Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons.
Hello fans of obscure robots, it's time to have a look at Cybertron/Universe Brushguard. Ooh. So here he is in his vehicle mode as he comes, this sort of GP, four-wheel drive, off-road, I don't know, crashing through the jungle type car thing. I cannot get enough of it. I don't know what it is about this vehicle mode. It is just so boxy and chunky and it's so much fun. The wheels are so far off the ground, it rolls beautifully, and I probably could take it outside and it would roll exactly the same. Got nice silver shiny windows, some obscure sort of mountaineering logo on there, which I hear is exactly the same as one on Energon Landmine. It probably doesn't mean anything. Some neon green lights all over the front. I don't know why you need 6. And it's just overall just a really nice little thing. I really find it really hard to describe why I love this so much, but I just really do. It might be the shape, might be the size, you know, he's big but still small, and it's just a lot of fun. Before I go any further though, there is a bit of a weird thing to point out that I've noticed. You'll see on the side here, the doors don't really have any handles. There's some sort of slight grooves where you would expect door handles to be, but when you turn it round the other side, you've actually got pokey out peg type bits. Why? What is that for? I have no idea. I'd like to know. It just screams some sort of abandoned combination thing to me, and I know it won't be that, but it's just some sort of lazy sculpting. Why is this? Why? What's happening here? So going from the weird to the completely useless, being a Cybertron toy, he has got the key jack in the back here, and he comes with an Earth key with this code, which will get you absolutely nothing these days. Even back in 2005, when I actually had some cyber keys that I could enter the codes of online, I never did. So yeah, I never got to relish the sort of extra trivia that you would gain online from those, and you're sure as hell not going to get it now. But you can look on TF Wiki because it tells you all about it. Plug it in, and this stumpy thing went in a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't do anything in vehicle mode because this is a missile, and well, it just juts horribly out the back here. Yeah, I can see that's something that would put people off quite a bit. Probably quite a lot of you are thinking if I had that I'd just cut it down, but it really doesn't bother me at all. I'm not really one of those sorts of people who damages their toys just to make them look 2% better, so there you go. My Jeep has some purple stuff coming out the back. Maybe it's a big blackcurrant ice lolly, who knows. Getting this guy into robot mode is just equally as fun as the vehicle mode already is, I suppose. The first thing you want to do is go around the back of the Jeep and lift down these lilac-y claws. Yeah. Then you can get underneath and split these sides up, which lift up at an angle, and they will reveal his arms, which I will get to later because they're obviously a bit cack. Lift them out of the way, and you can sort of wangle the front end off because it pegs in up here, and underneath you'll see some bits that protrude, and you can flip those down, and those are his feet. And of course split the legs and stand him up, and the only thing left to do is somehow get any nails you might have into the joint that his head rotates on from this spare wheel, and bring that round, turn his head round, and you have a robot mode. Now yes, this probably is where the figure receives more sort of faults and flaws than the vehicle mode, but I still like it. I think it's just a nice little robot mode. You can just about sort of see the nice purple light piping in his oddly square head there. He's just painted nicely in these little bits of green and these sort of what are supposed to be sort of pearlescent white, but I don't know why they come across more as slightly brown. Yes, he's got lilac Wolverine claws, which of course sadly he can't really use because this is the main flaw of this figure, the way the shoulders are assembled. Why, my shoulders hurt! You can see the joint is on this flat bit here and not actually connected to his whole body. So They go like that really well, but they don't go forward too good, and I don't know, I just feel like there was probably a better way they could have done these. And then why are his elbows sort of set off at an angle? You just can't move his arms very much at all. They just get in the way of the rest of his body really easily, and yeah, he's got sort of 5mm handholds there, but you'd be lucky if you can get him to wield anything with any sort of finesse, and then the wheels on the backs of his arms just sort of get in the way a bit more. So that's a bit of a shame. That sort of prohibits any really cool poses you can get him into, but I don't know. At least they're detailed. You know, at least you can sort of... At least you can sort of imagine he might be able to do something with these interesting claws. You don't see those on bots very often at all. So they're nice touches that look good, but you won't really be able to do anything with them. The legs, however, are very, very nice. He's got really nicely moving knees, and the hips are on ball joints with loads of motion, and he's got a lovely waist swivel that just, the motion feels so nice. It's so easy, and he's got such a big range of movement. And I like the way his legs look. Yes, they're just the front of a Jeep, but they bend well, and he's got these really big knee guards made out of the windscreens, which I assume would just sort of smash if he tried to knee you. But they work really nicely, and the way his feet transform, you've got a bit of a motion there as well, so you can get him into some good poses, but of course that only really applies to below the waist. There's a nice look at his face, which is basically really crammed in there, isn't it? I mean, most of his head is forehead and chin, and then you're left with his face sort of like... Makes him look very sort of terse and slightly pent up, which is quite cool. And for some reason, yes, he's got fluorescent ears. And considering the fact that his head is made out of the inside of a spare tyre, I think it's pretty good. Now, here is where we can get the cyber key gimmick working a bit better, because when you cram it in his back in this mode, he extremely violently launches this purple missile. This is one of the most powerful missile launchers I have ever seen, I think. It's quite amazing. And even if you leave the key in his back, where it leaves the catch sort of open, you can still take the missile and just sort of pull it back, and it will launch very well, because I imagine the spring inside his chest must be enormous. So that's not really a bad gimmick. I mean, it is a bit odd when you think about it, that he is launching a missile from the exact centre of his chest, when really you've got sort of designs and details here that would make you think, oh, that's like a spark crystal or something. No, it's actually something he's going to spew forth from his chest cavity. But I guess you have the reason there as to why this mould was repainted into Warpath at one point. For a size comparison, here he is next to Ghost Rider. So you can see he's the sort of, you know, standard, almost 3 3/4 inch sort of size scout bot. And overall, I just think he's excellent, and I'm still finding it really hard to sort of tell you why. Maybe it's because he evokes the sort of really obscure G1 Decepticon. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because he is the only bot called Brushguard. You know, he's a nice obscure character, and he's got a sort of classic style, and you can just sort of imagine him being some weird forgotten G1 guy. Maybe it's the colours, because he's sporting this really sort of fabulous late sort of Decepticon colour scheme with this sort of turquoise and lots of purple, and it's slightly garish, but at the same time I really like it, because you don't get bots painted like that these days. You take one look at this guy's colour scheme and you know he's a Decepticon. It's really nice, and just sort of makes me feel like I'd really want to see him in a comic sometime soon. I mean, I wouldn't know anything about his character if I just went on the back of the box that I got him in, because being the Universe packaging version, he didn't get a bio at all. You just get a little Universe, oh, Unicron's waging a war for Transformers Sweat story thing, and I had to look at TF Wiki to find out that he's a sort of botanist sort of guy, you know, the sort of maybe stock supervillain guy that uses plants to kill people. So this is the Transformer that will launch living vines at people and cuts his way through the jungle to look at flowers. It gives him a nice sort of connection to nature in that way, which makes his vehicle mode feel a bit better, because you can just imagine him rumbling through the jungle and rolling up at some sort of bush to use his claws to cut things off it and take back to his lab and make them grow into horrible, horrible machines of death. Green, turgid, spiky death. So there you have it, a list of reasons as to why I really like Cybertron Brushguard, and maybe none of them are very conclusive or very persuasive, but I've got to say, if you can find this guy cheap, he really is worth picking up, just as a sort of nice, weird bot to add to your collection. You're just not going to have anything like him, and even if you do, it's not going to be called Brushguard, so he's just unique. He's a nice sort of character in himself that you can just add to your Decepticons and just have another guy to fight. He's just got a lot of character, and I think he makes this mould his own, because I haven't had to mention that he's a repaint of Overhaul at all. Maybe it's because of the fact that this mould has been more readily available than Overhaul for the past few years, because he's had multiple repackaged releases. I don't know, but to be honest, when I think of Overhaul, I don't really think of anyone. I mainly think of that line from The Mask. So you better rush guard and go and get yourself a brush guard right now. Terrible pun. Go, my creation, destroy the Autobots. What the hell is that? I don't know, but I'm gonna stab it. Do it, break down, it might be made of jam. I killed it. No!